Hello, my beautiful people. Like, share, and subscribe. So guys, you must have seen a lot of videos circulating online on how a lot of Yorubas are lamenting the hardship in the country, and you would also see what did they call it? Even the Northerners too, even to the extent that for the first time in my life, I saw a Northerner born Nigerian flag. That's to show you how extreme the poverty is. People don't care. And with the way Nigeria is going, I see the situation getting worse. It will get to a point people will not fear death anymore because hunger would have injured many of these people. But the question now is, the Yorubas the ones suffering more in this economy? You see, I cannot just answer this question. This is not the straight answer to answer. And some people will say that the Igbos are not suffering too. Anybody that tells you that the Igbos too are not struggling in this economy, the person is a liar. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody is suffering in this economy. It's just that maybe some people are suffering more of it than others. And I will explain this thing to you somehow. You see, if you look at the way Nigeria is structured, you will see. Go and check the poverty index in Nigeria. Go and look at the poverty index in Nigeria. If you look at the poverty index in Nigeria, you will see where the poverty started from. You will see that Southeast has the lowest poverty index. South, where the oil money comes from, has a high poverty index. Do you know that Bayelsa is one of the poorest states in Nigeria? Bayelsa, a state that has oil. So it's not by infrastructure and what do they call it? It's not by infrastructure and facilities that you will know whether a place has a high poverty index. What is poverty? Food, for example, is one of the greatest measure. When you don't even have food to eat, or you don't eat adequately, that one is a big problem. So I don't believe that only the Igbos are suffering. Just that the Igbo people are people that the Igbos. I'm not saying that Igbos don't beg. If you go to the southeast, because I've been all over Nigeria, you see that Igbos beg. So you understand, but you cannot compare. If even as a person, you will know that Northerners are the people that beg more. You understand? The first place I saw a lot of people begging, because I'm not Igbo and I'm not Yoruba, I'm from the minority tribe. The first place I saw people in large numbers begging was in the southwest. That's the first place. Then north was the highest. You understand what I'm saying? But if you come to the southeast, you hardly see people beg. People have pride. People have this this element of I cannot beg even though I'm suffering. People kind of manage, but there's poverty in the southeast. And let me tell you, when I served in villages in the southeast, I saw. You see, poverty has different degree. Like, let me just give you an example of what I saw. In that village I served, and I'm not going to mention the name of the village, and I'm not going to mention the name of the state. It's in the southeast. With rice was like gold. Rice. People ate mainly gari. So if you have rice, you're like a king. I went there like a copper. You're like a king, even to the extent that even your students will be telling you that they will want to come and eat rice in your house, and you know the consequence of those things. You understand what I'm saying? A male can take advantage of such situation and have affairs with a lot of females just because of rice. But it doesn't mean that the people were not eating. People were eating. They had different vegetables they could eat from. Then I watched another video of where a guy from what do they call it? A guy that goes around Nigeria, I think Odu guy. He went to a place in Enugu. And you need to see poverty. There's poverty everywhere in Nigeria, just that some places has it more. Like I've mentioned, serving in the village opened my eyes to see that people in the rural area experience poverty more than people in the urban area. If you go to Onitsha now, for example, you hardly see young Igbo people begging. It's almost impossible. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, you see people begging, but begging in that number, like you see Northerners sit down on the street, it's not possible. You understand? Sit down on the road. This is not a biased video. You can disagree with me. These are just things I observe because I observe things very well in Nigeria. So in that village in the southeast, people were just eating okra. Mainly, they were eating okra and gari. There was no other food for them to eat because that's what the cheapest form of food they could eat. And when you talk of protein, there was almost no protein. So the whole Nigeria, except people go and hunt. You understand? And that village I served in the southeast too. Most people have gardens, so without those gardens, people can't eat. So the Igbos are also struggling. You know, nobody will tell you that anybody that tells you that Igbos are not struggling, not Tinubu economy, the person is lying. That's just the simple truth. The Igbos are struggling. Maybe they might not just be suffering as much as other people. Just go and look at the poverty index in Nigeria, and you will see people that are suffering more. This is not even made up data. This is something that you will even see in reality, you know. And any region that has a high level of people employed by government, or you will see that there will be a higher level of poverty, because with the way the salary is going, people doing business in Nigeria now will tend to have a lower form of poverty, not because they are not struggling in their business, but even if they buy things at a high price, they can raise it high. Like I can remember when we were used to sell provision, because we used to sell provision those days. When we used to have a provision shop, we never used to get hungry in our house. You understand? It was when we stopped having provision shop that we said you can have bouts of, oh, there's no food in the afternoon, you must wait till the night. But when we have provision shop, if we are hungry, you just tell your mom, mommy, I'm hungry. Your mom will say, okay, go to provision and bring bread, you know. And later when there's money, they will fill up the shop. So that's how, you know, this whole people that are doing business now have advantage. And depending on the type of business you're doing, if you're doing food business like provision, you can never go hungry, no matter how the economy be. Maybe your shop will look as if it wants to die and as if it wants to die, and then when you have money again, you restock it. You know, it's just as if the store serves as a cushion for the poverty. So there's poverty everywhere in Nigeria, just that the degree. If you go to the market in the southeast, people will complain. So this is not even a joke, but maybe yes, they will complain. That's just the simple truth. And another thing I noticed too is level of I think in my own view, Northern has not helped their people. If I judge based on what I saw all over my travels in Nigeria, because I've been to many states, Northerners in the rural areas don't even have phone. You understand? But it's difficult for you to go to the southeast and see that an average young person there doesn't have phone, because their relatives will always try to help them buy phone, buy this. You will see things happening in the north, and that's the level of that's poverty. Things will be happening in the north, and nobody will even have video evidence of it. But it's not possible. Even in the most remote areas in the southeast, people even have phone. They can video, even they make calls and all those things. You know, I had a friend from Southern Kaduna that year. When I asked him, why are we not seeing videos of the killings? He would tell me that I've never been there, that you need to see how people are poor. You know, so I used to say, why don't you people buy phones for your people, or try to do small things for them? You know, most of those people depend on agriculture, and agriculture is a type of business that it can do bountifully well this year, and next year you won't have any profit. So that's why agriculture is a very risky business that government should be involved, so that if the people make losses based on maybe pests and diseases, government should try and support them. So those are just my points. I know you might agree or disagree with me, and there may be things I even forgot to add, but there's poverty all over Nigeria. But just looking at the poverty index in Nigeria, you will see that the northern region has the highest level of poverty, and the southeast specifically has the lowest form of poverty. And I'm telling you, I'm not Igbo. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not Yoruba or now Hausa. So that should just tell you. But that's just what I observed. And because a lot of Yorubas will be asking, why have we not seen videos from the southeast? Because people have different threshold. I remember when during Buhari time, I used to complain to one of my friends that things are hard in Nigeria. And he always tells me, oh, nothing is happening. He's a Yoruba guy. He tell me, you know, the way he sounds, he will not sound as if the people in his community, they are living fine because he resides in Lagos. And I'll be like, it looks like your people have different threshold for suffering, because people are suffering all over the country. You understand? I know where my parents are residing. I know how they struggle is, you know. So People are struggling. How can you now tell me that your people are not suffering? I found it weird, you know. And I'm like, maybe your people manage more, but our people complain. And you see, the southeast and the south are people that are very vocal. If things are bad for them, they will not keep quiet. If they don't like a leader, they don't hide it, you know. And people have individual minds. They are not like in the southwest or the north where one king will just come out and say vote for this person and everybody vote for him. In the southeast, it doesn't work. Even if Obi of shall come and say vote for Atiku or vote for Obi, and all the what do they call it, Ohanes Ndigbo say vote for Tinubu, people will not answer. People have their own mind and their own choice, you know. So people are more democratic, if I use it in that language, you know. It's not an issue of respect. People like Reno Mokri always want to twist the narrative that people like Reno Mokri always want to twist the narrative that people are must be loyal. No, there's a loyalty that doesn't make sense. You understand? You know, seeing things happening in Kogi where the governor is bowing down to Yabelo, people like Reno Mokri endorses it to show you that Reno Mokri is not a good man. And he also endorses how Tinubu changed Lagos and the finances of Lagos. You know, there's nothing in respecting people, but when it comes to like Fubara and Wike, when it comes to affecting the finances, it doesn't matter if you're a governor, Fubara bows down to Wike. But when it comes to affecting the finances of the state, because we heard how they say Wike wanted to be collecting 20% or 30% of Rivers State money. That where the battle line should be drawn. You know, if you want a better Nigeria, you cannot support those wickedness. You know, and that's why many of us also told you that Tinubu is not the right candidate, because he will cage everything. I hope at the end of the day, after Tinubu finish this his madness, he will put Nigeria into regional government. You know, for me, the solution to Nigeria problem, at least half of the thing that will solve the solution, let's us share our solid and liquid minerals. You understand? With fairness, all these state governors owning Zamfara mines and Southwest owning their gold, it should end. Let everybody share their solid and minerals equally. Let it divide into 6. You understand? Then let everybody enjoy your industrial tax. Your industrial tax belongs to your region. Then finally, let the army have equal number of people from the 6 zones, and every region will also have its military police and police. Let everybody region police is fair. The federal government can only intervene if the parliament in that region wants them to intervene, and if the casualty rates are very high. And there should be things like human rights where people can sue police or the army. The federal government can put a very high money so that people are careful of not to profile people, you know, just things like that. Maybe somebody from another region, police from another region is harassing him, you know, you can sue them for a very big amount, and federal government should encourage it so that, you know, there will be human rights and everything. You know, these are just my blanket thoughts on this whole thing. Let me know your thoughts if you agree or disagree with me.